Hello. Thought you'd seen the last of me. Hello everyone, it's Yanni. Welcome back to my channel. And I'm aware it's been almost a full month, maybe even more than a month, since the last time I posted. Turns out that a stressful 36 hours turned out to become a stressful month. College is very hard. I should have known that going in. I thought I knew that going in, but it's actually extremely difficult. Not even in terms of like, oh, the work is hard, which it is, the work is hard, but like something about it, man. Maybe it's just like going to school in a pandemic, but it kind of my spirit got a little crushed recently, not gonna lie. So sorry for taking so long. It's been a really rough month school-wise, and obviously I need to focus on that rather than my channel. I hope you understand. But the good news is, because I've been so stressed, the way that I like to unwind is through comfort movies, which is what I'm here to talk about today. In my opinion, there's two types of comfort movies. There's the one that seem like they shouldn't be comfort movies. I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. I feel like it's not that strange though. But sometimes I like to unwind with movies that are very stressful, because if I feel like that stress is contained into this little fictional world, then I won't really have a problem like turning it off when it's done. Something about the catharsis of like finishing a very stressful movie is like kind of what I like. So movies like Whiplash or like horror movies, those are comfort movies to me, which is kind of weird, but I feel like it's not that strange. But those are not the movies I'll be talking about today. These are like truly comfort movies, just good vibes, very fun, laid back, not a lot of like depth going on. I mean, some of them have a lot of depth, but you know what I mean. It's just generally very lighthearted. So yes, let's get started. These are 10 of my comfort movies.
And then they said, how did they phrase it? Then they said, give us some money! As a gift! We want a gift! But only if it's money!
First of all, I just want to say that I tricked you. It's not just 10. I do have a couple bonuses, and they are not in the top 10 because they are not necessarily movies, and they are John Mulaney's comedy specials, but specifically The Comeback Kid and Kid Gorgeous. I think John Mulaney is a genuinely funny person. Obviously he's funny, or else he wouldn't be a comedian. Oh my god. I wrote that in my outline. I was like, yes, this is a very good point to make for the video. No, but he just like radiates comfort for me. I make this joke a lot that he's like the one white man I can trust. I could be put alone in a room with him and I'd trust him. I'd trust him with my life. I don't know, something about the way that his comedic timing and his just general aura just make me really like him. I really, really like him. Some of my favorite bits from him is the one about being an English major / his college life, because I feel like that was very relevant to me. Still is relevant to me. I'm no longer an English major, but whatever. Let bygones be bygones. And also the part about being raised Catholic. I was also raised Catholic, and so whenever he launches into his like the thing about like singing in church, and I think he says something like, it's just a bunch of dads singing really, really loud. I lost my mind. It's so funny. He's so funny. If you haven't seen John Mulaney specials, I truly recommend them. I think Kid Gorgeous might be slightly better than Comeback Kid in my mind. New in Town is fine too. I just don't love it. It does have the really iconic prostate exam bit, but other than that, I don't love New in Town. And all I have to say left is eat ass, suck a dick, and sell drugs.
Hey there, teenage Baltimore! Don't change that channel, because it's time for the Corny Collins Show! Brought to you by Ultra Clutch Hairspray.
So my first real comfort movie is the 2007 Hairspray. Let me just acknowledge it first right off the bat. A lot of the race themes in this are problematic. It is very white saviory, and I think Tracy does literally say the phrase Afro-tastic at some point, which is its own thing. So we're going to acknowledge that, and yes, I'm aware this film just holds so much nostalgia for me. One of my fondest memories of my grandmother, who's been passed for a very long time, most of my life now. One of my favorite memories with her is I had just seen Hairspray for like the 5th time. I don't know, I was obsessed with this movie as a kid. I like sat on her lap and I like told her the whole plot. She like listened to me, so there's a lot of really like good memories that I have associated with Hairspray, especially in my childhood. I just want to say that every single song in Hairspray is a banger, and that's not necessarily like the 2007 versions like doing. It's just the songs are so good. I think I know every single word to the soundtrack, and it's not an exaggeration or a lie. I'm pretty sure that I do. My favorite songs are Miss Baltimore Crabs, You Can't Stop the Beat, what's the one with the four of them? Without Love. Speaking of Without Love, Amanda Bynes in The Jump Rope may have awoken something in me as a kid, but we're not gonna unpack it right now. I think that the fact that I was more attracted to Amanda Bynes than to Zac Efron should have tipped me off as a kid that I'm a little queer about this one.
I love the Smiths.
Sorry?
I said I love the Smiths.
My next comfort movie is 500 Days of Summer. I could sing praises about 500 Days of Summer for the rest of my life. This movie truly like changed the way that I saw movies, I think. First of all, let's get this out of the way. I'm in love with Zooey Deschanel. I love New Girl, binged it all recently. I love Summer Finn specifically. I see a lot of myself in her, and not the version that like Tom projects on her, you know? I just love summer. I don't know how to like explain it without it sounding like, oh, you're buying onto the manic pixie dream girl. No, I'm not. Okay, I'm self-aware. I know what this movie is. I don't need you to explain it to me in the comments. Trust me, I've seen it enough times to know. I'm a huge fan of the editing as well. I think the expectations versus reality scene is fantastic. It's spectacular, show-stopping, whatever, you know, the Lady Gaga thing. I think one of my favorite scenes in the whole thing is the montage, not montage, it's like the little dance number after Tom gets laid. Oh, fantastic. Incredible. Even though it's supposed to be like really campy and like jokey, it's just, I don't know, how can you like not be happy when you see that scene? This also is my screening for potential love interest. If I am like interested in somebody and they start to watch it and they sympathize with Tom, that's a red flag. Take that from me, ladies. If you are trying to get a man and you just watch this movie with him, okay? And if he sympathizes with Tom, it's not it.
You're exaggerating, Patrick.
I'm sugarcoating it, man. This is Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, three of the meanest, nastiest, ugliest farmers in the history of this valley.
Really? Tell me about them.
Next, this is not a surprise to anybody, Fantastic Mr. Fox. It is one of my favorite Criterions that I own. I talked about it in my Criterion video, which by the way, at this point in time has 3,000 views, which is like 3,000 more than I thought it was gonna get, so thank you so much, that's incredible. It's one of my favorite Criterions that I own. But of course that's not like reflective on the movie itself, that's just on Criterion. They did a fantastic job with the remastering. It's also just one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies ever. It's one of my favorite stop motion movies. Stop motion is by far my favorite medium. I'm just obsessed with it. I love it. I've been obsessed with it since I was little and like, it's just fall in a movie. It is the season fall in a movie, and that's fantastic. It just feels like butternut squash soup and scarves. You know what I mean?
Garlic bread is my favorite food. I could honestly eat it for every meal, or just eat it all the time without even stopping.
You get fat.
No, why would I get fat?
Bread makes you fat.
Bread makes you fat?
Is this controversial? It's not controversial. It's just like, I feel like I have to explain myself though. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Okay, pause. I hate Scott Pilgrim as a character. I think he's one of the worst characters ever, worst main characters ever, just like the absolute worst. I hate him. But that doesn't mean the movie doesn't smack. I love the score, or soundtrack, my bad. I love the soundtrack. I listen to the soundtrack a lot, probably more than like I should. I just think it's fantastic, and obviously the editing and the directing by Edgar Wright is just phenomenal. I love it's so nerdy. It's so nerdy and I love it so much. It's also just a genuinely funny movie, and it makes me laugh so much, especially the scene bread makes you fat, and then also the little bit with Anna Kendrick's boyfriend and Wallace. That so good. This is a Knives protection squad. If you don't like Knives, get the fuck out. She deserves better. Just want to give her a little pat on the head and a hug and tell her everything's gonna be okay. And she doesn't need this geeky little white boy who's like way older than her. She doesn't need it. She's a hot, badass girl. She can do way better than him.
You don't see that? Waiter, I'll begin with a house salad, but I don't want the regular dressing. I'll have the balsamic vinegar and oil, but on the side. And then the salmon with the mustard sauce, but I want the mustard sauce on the side. On the side is a very big thing for you.
Well, I just want it the way I want it.
Next is also not a surprise if you know me. When Harry Met Sally. It's my favorite rom-com. It's my favorite Meg Ryan movie. It's my This is similar to Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is Fall in a Movie Part 2. Big chunky sweaters and like crisp air when you're walking out onto the sidewalk. What are these analogies? I don't even know. I'm losing my mind. A phenomenal New Year's Eve movie because it has one of the best New Year's Eve scenes of all time. When you say New Year's Eve scenes, you better be talking about When Harry Met Sally or High School Musical. Anything else, I will not listen to you. That's a promise. I talked about it a little bit more in my Before Sunrise video because I briefly mentioned Harry Met Sally, but I love the enemies to friends to lovers is my favorite trope of all time. No one's doing it like them. No one can do it like that. Enemies to friends to lovers. In my outline, I just have sweaters. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. I guess that means I love the sweaters. I want to steal Meg Ryan's whole wardrobe in this movie. All of it. All of it. But one of them has a sweater that's very similar to like the Knives Out Chris Evans sweater. I want to steal it. I need it.
Nerve to stand there and expect me to believe that you don't want to marry my son for his money?
It's true.
Then what do you want to marry him for?
I want to marry him for your money.
Next is Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. It's that, classic movie with Marilyn Monroe. I actually watched this for a class last semester. I took a class on Golden Age Hollywood and the Hays Code, and so this was one of the things that we watched. I almost wrote my final paper on it. I ended up doing the children's hour instead. This is irrelevant. I'm not sure why you need to know this. I guess this is to say that there's a lot to analyze intellectually about this film, and I did analyze it intellectually many, many times, but it didn't ruin it for me because it's just like that good of a movie. Usually if you analyze something, it kind of ruins it, so that's why I can only analyze like the best of movies. In my favorite movies are the ones that I analyze. All the other ones in that class that I did work for, I didn't like it as much after I finished, but this movie I still continue to love and cherish and rewatch. It's just such a banger. It's such a banger. Not to be basic, but the best scenes are the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend scene, which of course is iconic, stunning. People have mimicked it for years and years and years and years. And of course, Anyone Here for Love. That's also a good scene. In class we talked about the parallels between the two, and I don't know, it's so good. It's so fun to analyze this movie as well as to just watch it and enjoy it.
Teddy, it would be a disaster if we married.
It wouldn't be a disaster.
We'd be miserable.
Joe, I'd be a perfect saint.
I can't. I've tried it and I failed.
Why does everyone expect it then? Why does your family and my grandpa expect it? Why are you saying this? Say yes. Let's be happy together, Joe.
I can't say yes truly, so I'm not going to say it at all.
Next up is the 2019 Little Women, directed by Greta Gerwig. This is one of my friends' all-time favorite movies, and for good reason. It's up there for me as well. I just want to say first off, Jo March is a childhood hero of mine. When I had my Amazon Kindle, remember those? The OG Kindle, not the Kindle Fire, the original Kindle. Little Women was one of the books I had, and I read it obsessively. I loved it so much. I still want to be an author, and I did back then. And I do think the Winona Ryder performance did her justice. Of course, I would never give an ill word against my queen, Winona Ryder. But Saoirse Ronan's performance is just absolutely off the charts phenomenal. I think she was one of the best performances of 2019, which is controversial, not really, but did she deserve the Oscar? That's a question. That's another conversation for another day. The 2019 Oscar, let's put a pin in that. The filmmaking is done with so much care. You can really tell that Greta Gerwig loves the source material, and just it's, you can tell when movies are done with a lot of love, and that's what I love the most about Little Women, is just how much everyone involved seems to care about the end product and care about the source material. Screenplay, I'll talk about screenplay right now. That screenplay deserved the Oscar. Oh, it was JoJo. Okay, I love the rep. He's the first Indigenous person to win that award, but I do think that the Little Women screenplay deserved. I've read the screenplay, and it's one of my favorite screenplays. I'll tell you all a little secret right now. I don't like Christmas. Now, before everyone in the comments called me a Grinch, just know that my friends get it. My friends tell me that all the time. I don't really need to hear it from a lot of you. But this movie makes me like Christmas, so it's not even that I don't celebrate it. I do celebrate Christmas, I just don't like it.
This is my family. I found it all on my own. is little and broken, but still good.
Lilo and Stitch, one of the best Disney movies, period, point blank, ever. First of all, I'm gonna say that as a Micronesian American growing up, I didn't have any rep. I didn't have any PI rep. So having this was very essential to me and to my upbringing, and just to see somebody that looked a little bit like me, even though I'm not Native Hawaiian, it's close enough. Which is why Moana is one of the most important movies to me, probably. It's not necessarily a comfort movie because I just sob my eyes out every time. So it doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel sad. But Lilo and Stitch, on the other hand, it's just such a good, like, feel-good movie. It's genuinely funny. And the little bit when she, like, nails Nani out of the house and she like puts on the record and like opens her mouth. It's not opens her mouth, she like sings along to it. She goes, "Leave me alone to die." Iconic. She's a little stinker, but I love Lilo with all my heart. The chemistry and relationships between each character are unique and good. You can tell I totally read that off, I'm so sorry. But like the relationship between Lilo and Nani is so interesting, and the relationship between Lilo and Stitch and Nani, and you know, and Stitch and Bleakley, and Stitch and, you know, Jumba, and etc, etc, etc. And David as well, throw him in there too. It's just like every pair of characters or like group of characters has their own relationship dynamic, and it's just so interesting to watch, especially Lilo and Nani. The Aloha always scene, you already know. And that one little like thing where Lilo's like, I think she has like trained Stitch or something, but it's just like them like running around Hawaii and like with the Elvis playing in the background. They're like taking pictures, eating ice cream. So good, so good, so good, so good, so good. And then the surfing scene. Okay, I'm gonna shut up because I can't make this whole thing about Lilo and Stitch, but it's fantastic.
There you are, sweetheart. Sorry I'm late. I was looking everywhere for you. Hey, we're busy here. Are you really? It looked to me like the two of you were just leaving.
Next, Howl's Moving Castle. This is tied for my favorite Studio Ghibli movie. It's tied with My Neighbor Totoro, and I debated whether or not to put Howl or Totoro on this list, but I'm gonna put Howl. I think Howl has a little more substance, and I'm pretty sure that like no one will disagree with me on that. There essentially is no plot to Totoro. I like how there are a lot of themes about time and like the future, and it's very anti-war, which for Studio Ghibli I think is pretty like powerful to be showing that to children. It's such a good movie, such a powerful movie. Merry-Go-Round of Life, one of my favorite. And Howl Pendragon, that's my boyfriend. That's my boyfriend. I could throw Totoro in here as well. It would probably be like my number 11. Probably just because Totoro, I have to be in like a very, very specific mindset for it. Like I have to feel like happy already. It doesn't like make me happier if I'm sad. It just makes me more sad for some reason. Hard to explain.
I will light your way in darkness. With this ring, I ask you to be mine.
And the last movie on my comfort list is Corpse Bride. I almost put Nightmare Before Christmas on this instead of Corpse Bride, but then I decided to do Corpse Bride instead. Both movies I watched obsessively as a child. I was like a huge Tim Burton kid. Again, like I said with Fantastic Mr. Fox, this is one of my favorite mediums ever. Stop motion. Laika Studios is one of my favorite studios. Tim Burton used to be my favorite director, and then he was being racist, so we don't really fuck with that. I think, and argue with the wall, I think that the atmosphere and aesthetic of Corpse Bride is superior to Nightmare Before Christmas. Don't come for me, you know I'm right. You know I'm right. The music, I'd say they're pretty like equal in terms of music. I think obviously Nightmare Before Christmas is more iconic, but I think Corpse Bride's music is better. Not to be that person. But I don't know, I just really like Emily as a character. She was one of my favorite characters growing up. I like the worm and the spider. They're my favorite duo, especially their song together. So good, so good. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just, I really want to watch it now, having talked about it for a little bit. Yeah, Corpse Bride Supremacy, that's all I gotta say. And that should do it. That's my list of comfort movies. Hopefully this wasn't rambling all over the place. I actually tried to film this last week, and it was exactly that, rambling all over the place, and I was like, this is shit, I'm not gonna put it on my channel. But I'm gonna shut up now. The Oscars are coming up, So if you're interested in seeing coverage of Kaden and I are watching every single Best Picture nominee, and we are discussing them on our podcast up until the Oscars, of course. We have 2 episodes out. The first episode, we discuss Promising Young Woman, Trial of Chicago 7, and then the most recent one that came out should be yesterday if this video goes out correctly. In the episode we discussed yesterday, we discussed Mank and Sound of Metal. Our episode on Nomadland and Minari is also up. My apologies, this video is extremely late. So those will be really interesting. I'll be doing my own video on this channel, of course, about the Oscars. But if you want some Oscar coverage right now, click in the description below. Our podcast is there. Listen to it while you're on your morning walk or on your way to work, school, wherever, whatever you may be doing. Also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd. All 3 of those I think are, not to be biased, but very good content. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully, if school doesn't kill me first. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all of that things. I've talked for far too long now, so thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!